Hello and welcome to this Affinity photo tutorial. This is the tutorial that has been adapted from a Photoshop tutorial that was in Digital Camera magazine. Although it is a Photoshop tutorial, it, much like many Photoshop tutorials, translates well over to Affinity Photo. The tutorial looks at 4 ways to subtly edit a photo's colours and or contrast using just the levels adjustment. So the first thing we need is an image to work on. Now the magazine had an image of some escalators in an underground or a shopping mall, and I've found this image on Pixabay which is sort of similar. I will add a link to the image in the description of this video. So once you have an image open, click on the half black and white icon in the layers panel and go up to the top and select levels. As all adjustments add their own layers, they work non-destructively and the original image stays safe. The Open Levels panel will have a histogram in the top section which will show you the distribution of the pixels in the image, going from the black and dark pixels on the left to the lighter and white pixels on the right. Under the histogram there are 3 sliders, one each to move the black and white level pointer, and then you have the gamma or mid-tones pointer. Under the 3 sliders there are 2 more sliders. These are the output black and white options, and they will either lighten the darker tones or darken the lighter tones in the image. The first thing I will do is move the black levels slider, and as you can see, if I move it to the right, this will get much darker, but I'm just going to move it over to about 10% just to make these darker pixels much darker. And then I'm going to move the white levels by the same amount, so 10%, so minus 10% from 100 is 90, so I will move this down to 90%. And then I'm going to move the gamma slider to the left just to lighten up like the mid-tones. I mean, how much you do this may depend on your particular image and your particular taste. The same with any of these options that I'm going to show you. The choice is yours as to how far you move it. But I'm going to come to, let's go to about 0.76 just to lighten that up a bit. And now I'm going to close down this option, and I'm going to just click on the name area here, and I'm going to call this basic. And so this is the basic adjustment, and then if I just turn this on and off, you can see sort of how much extra contrast that has added to this particular image. Now I'm going to just turn that off now, and then you can, if you don't want it, you can delete it, but I'm going to keep mine and I will show you why at the end. But I'm going to add another levels adjustment, and we will look at the second way that the magazine said to use the levels adjustment. So in this version we're going to be sort of going for a sort of split tone effect, and we're going to be using the option here where it's got master. Now this is when this is on master, you are affecting all the pixels and you're adjusting like the contrast within the image, the darks and the lights. Within the drop down menu you can affect particular colours and their effect on the image. So what we're going to do is we are going to select the red channel, and then we're going to move the black level slider. Now if I move this to the right, if I go quite a long way, as you can see it's starting to turn the image cyan. So I don't want to go too far with this, so I'm going to go back to the sort of where I had it before on the previous one, which is 10%, and then we're going to move the white levels, and I will move this quite a long way just so you can see this starts to bring in a sort of more reddy orange. But I just want a hint of that, but I will go slightly more than 10%. I'm going to bring this to 80%, so I've dropped it down by 20%. So next we're going to select the blue channel, and then rather than moving the sliders up the top here, we're going to be changing the output sliders, and I'm going to move again. I'm going to move this in to 10%, and then the white slider I'm going to move this down to about 90%, and then I'm going to close that down, and I'm just going to rename this one split tone, and then when I turn this on and off, again it's only a very subtle change, but hopefully you can see we've got a sort of slight hint of cyan and orange going on in the shadows and highlights. So I'll turn that off again. I'm not going to delete it, and I'm just going to add a new levels adjustment. Now this time we're going to be altering just the blend modes. We're not going to make any alterations to any of the sliders here. You can alter the blend mode either from down here in this panel, or from up here in the levels adjustment, level layers panel I should say, where it's got normal. So I can now shut this down, and I'm going to rename this blend modes. So you can go for any of the blend modes here, but so like for example multiply will make it much darker, screen will make it much lighter. But if you want a sort of more balanced contrast, you can go for overlay or a subtler soft light. So I'm going to leave mine on soft light, and you could also adjust the opacity if you just want to sort of tone down that effect, but I'll leave it on 100% for now, and then again turning that on or off, you can see the effect that is having just by changing the blend mode. So I'll turn that one off now, and we will add the final adjustment. So I'll add another levels adjustment, and this time we're going to have a sort of retro cross-processed effect. So again we are going to be using the channels, and we're going to go first with the red channel, and I'm going to stick with the settings I had, which was 10% on the left. If I can get it to stay on 10, there we go, and 90 from the right with the black and white levels. I'll then come to the green, and we will do the same thing, so that's 10% on one side and 90 on the white like that, and then we'll come to the blue channel, and this time we are going to use the output levels rather than the sort of normal levels, and we're going to do this sort of self same thing in that the black will be 10% and the white output will be 90. So I can now shut that down, and I'll rename this layer cross process, and if I just turn this on and off, you can see what effect that has been having on that picture. So that is the 4 different ways to use levels to alter the image. Now, why I haven't deleted these off is that you can use this to make a template, because if you are like me and you watch a video and you say, oh, I must try this method at some point, but a month down the line you forget how the effect was set up, and you must sort of find and re-watch the tutorial. So I thought, why not make a template with all 4 options set up and ready to use. So what I've done is, or what I'll do I should say, is I will highlight that background layer, and what I will do is I will use the artistic text, and I will just draw out a reasonable size text, and I will type something along the lines of paste image here, or it might be better if it was above here. So I'll come off of that tool, and then again highlight that background layer, and then I can right click that and delete it. So you then got just the text layer and the 4 levels adjustments. So then if you come up to the file menu and down to export as template, then it will take you to a place, a folder that where you can save it to. It will either be a default folder, or in my case I already have a folder set up for templates, and I have previously saved this there as like levels 4 ways template, and then all you need to do is click save. But as I've already got one there, I don't need to do that, so I'll cancel that, and then I will close that down, and then file menu, new, and template, so levels 4 ways, create, and then you can open this up and you have the ready-made document with those 4 adjustments already made for you. So then all you need is an image. So if I open, say, this one here, and I just right click on that, copy, come back to my template, make sure it is the bottom layer that is highlighted, and then edit and paste. Now obviously the document size is probably a lot smaller than the images you might be bringing in, but all you need to do is come up to document and click to canvas, and that will make the canvas the size of the image. And then all you've got to do is turn on whichever one of these you might want to try out, see which one works, and if one of the settings is probably too much, like for example like this blend mode one on this particular picture is a bit too dark, you can just open it up and alter it again however you want, or change the opacity just so you get a slight effect. So because they are adjustments and they're working non-destructively, you can always come back to them and open them up and make alterations as you see fit, and then that template will always be there ready for you to use, and you don't have to remember what all the settings were. So that is basically it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.